Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel for another video and another GLP1 Discussions episode. This is actually a series that I launched last week where every single week we are going to have an in-depth discussion about something GLP1 related, some type of topic that I feel like really needs more attention and needs more focus on it. So I'm really excited for this new series and really inspired by all of the positive feedback that I got on it last week. If you did not catch last week's episode, you can go back and watch that now. They will always say GLP1 discussions in the title of the video. So this week we are actually going to be discussing something that I am really passionate about and something that I have been talking about pretty much my whole journey, and that is underfueling. I feel like that's a topic that is not talked about enough within the GLP-1 world. In fact, a lot of times people will just say, well, if you're not hungry, don't eat. And it doesn't really speak to the effects that can take on your body when you are underfueling your body for a prolonged period of time. So today we're going to talk about the things that can happen when you underfuel your body, and a lot of these come from personal experience from myself because I have experienced every single one of these things. And looking back on my journey now that I've lost, again, well, if you're new here and you don't know, I've lost over 100 pounds on a GLP-1. And so I have experienced all of these things at some point in my journey. And looking back on it now, I know that that is because I was not fueling my body properly, because I was just sort of saying, okay, well, I'm not hungry. I don't feel like eating. I don't have any appetite. And so therefore I just wasn't eating. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that I titrated up in dosage. I started on my journey in the very, very beginning of the whole sort of GLP-1 saga that is now. And at that time, it was recommended that you titrated up every single month. So you went from 2.5, for me specifically, because I was on Mounjaro, you went from 2.5 to 5 to 7.5 to 10, pretty much every month. And there was no real consideration on whether or not you needed to be titrating up. And nowadays that definitely is talked about more, but it wasn't at that point. And so I titrated up and therefore significantly underfueled my body most of the time and had all of these symptoms. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. If you would love to join in the conversation, leave your comments down below, talk about stuff that you have experienced within the underfueling world and how it has played a part in your journey. Because again, the more we talk, the more we share our personal experiences, the more everybody else can learn. So when you are underfueling your body, and what I mean by saying underfueling is not necessarily just food. I mean, that's obviously a huge part of it, but also in your fluids. So if you're not drinking enough water and you're not hydrating yourself properly, these things, like it's kind of one and the same. So we're talking food and hydration here as we continue on in this video. But when you do that, there are certain signs that your body will start to give you. And looking back on it now, I noticed all of these signs, but I thought that they were all just side effects related to typical GLP-1 use. Turns out it was a whole different thing. It was just the fact that I wasn't giving myself any food to eat. And so therefore my body was literally starving. Now, there are a lot of people that will tell you that the starvation mode is not a thing. And that is just so not true. You completely wreck your metabolism because when your body is underfueled for a prolonged period of time, which is why like 1,200 calorie diet is not really recommended. Most healthcare professionals will say it is dangerous to go under 1,200 calories a day. And even the 1,200 is a very low amount. So when you do that consistently, your body starts to pull from sources in order to keep you alive, right? So in order to protect your heart and your lungs and your brain and all of your vital organs that need the fuel, it starts to pull from other sources. And after a while, your body is like, hey, like I don't have, like we need you to give it something, and it starts to give you these signs. So I'm going to say number one, but they're not in any particular order because they all can happen. So the first one that can happen is actually hair loss. When your body, keeping your hair healthy and wonderful is like the last thing that your body is going to do in order to survive, right? So it's going to be one of the first things that your body is like, we don't really need this we don't need to fuel this. We don't need to keep this healthy. And so your hair health will start to suffer significantly. And that is why if you have any type of real significant weight loss where you are lacking nutrients, your hair is the first thing that sort of starts to fall out. So if you start to notice any significant hair loss, that's a good sign that you're not hydrating or fueling your body properly. The next one is actually dizziness when standing. I see this being linked to GLP-1s as a side effect quite often, but the truth is it's not a side effect of GLP-1. It's a side effect of your body not having enough fuel. So if you are standing up and you have to like kind of steady yourself and take a moment to kind of get your equilibrium back before you start moving, that is a sign that your body does not have enough food and that your blood sugar levels are too low and that you need to give yourself some fuel. I myself used to experience this every single time I stood up. As I have moved into maintenance and I am eating more food and I am fueling my body more properly, I don't have it anymore, very rarely. And that's usually if I can usually correspond it back to, okay, well, I didn't eat dinner last night or whatever, and it's first thing in the morning and I'm standing up. I can literally link it to the fact that I don't have any fuel in my body. So if you're getting dizzy when you stand up, you might want to consider adding a protein shake in your diet every day or another snack throughout the day, because I promise you that could quite literally, like even just a small protein shake can make that symptom go away as long as you are making sure that you fuel your body properly. The next one is low energy levels or always feeling tired. So obviously this is something that, is linked to not having enough fuel. Your body needs fuel, your body needs food in order to produce energy. That's literally what it does. It provides you energy. Carbohydrates provide you energy. So those people saying that carbs are bad, like I know that's a whole thing that we could get into. I'm not against carbs. I know some people are like super keto and all of that, but carbs and even sugar and other nutrients provide your body with energy. And so if you're only providing your body enough energy to stay alive, then you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel weak. You're just going to feel not up to yourself and not have the amount of energy that you want to have on this journey. Like you want to be able, I remember a lot of times in the early parts of my journey, thinking to myself, oh, well, I need to go take a walk or I need to go do a workout or some exercise. But then at the same time thinking, I don't have enough food in my body to do that. And looking back on that now, I should have been like, Brittany, what are you doing, right? Like feed your body something so that you can go move your body, right? But that's not what I was doing at that time. And so I would sort of tailor my workouts and my exercise to fit into the amount of food that I was giving myself. Whereas what I should have been doing was eating a little bit more food to help fuel my workout, which is why they tell you, a lot of people say you should eat your exercise calories back. A lot of people don't do that, but that is a recommendation that is given quite often. If you add in your exercise to MyFitnessPal, it gives you those exercise calories back because you have to refuel your body in order for it to keep up and maintain with the same level of energy that you had before. So if you're feeling weak, if you're feeling tired all the time, you probably need to eat some more food. Along that same sort of thing is like I said, weakness. So if you have muscle weakness, so we're talking, you're not able to open a jar of spaghetti. And I'm not gonna lie, there have been times where that has been me. Like I don't feel like I could, not lately, but in the beginning of my journey, not feeling like I could grip something to turn it and open it, or not feeling like I had the muscle strength or the energy to do that. And again, looking back on that now, I was like, what was I thinking? That was such a negative side effect or a negative thing that I should have taken note of, but I wasn't. I appreciate that the fact that I learned from my mistakes is what makes me able to come on here and talk to you guys and say, don't do what I did. And I know that everything happens for a reason. And the way that I, functioned within my journey is now what has made me able to come on here and talk to all of you about that and, warn you. And so I think that, everything serves its purpose, but at the same time, looking back on it now, I'm like, your body was literally eating itself because you had no energy and, you were dizzy all the time and like all of these things. And again, I think it ties back to the fact that I increased my dosage every single month without fail. Some of that was due to shortage issues. Like I would have stayed on 7.5, but I couldn't find it. So I would jump to 12.5 because it's the only thing that I could find. And it didn't serve, it served me well in the long run. I figured it out. I'm in maintenance now. I'm eating more food. I'm not losing weight. I feel healthy and I'm able to do things. But in the thick of it, when I was losing all of my weight, there are a lot of things that I could have done differently to make the process better for myself. And adding a protein bar in a day is not going to significantly impact the amount of weight loss that you have. And I think the mentality of, I want to eat as little as possible is sort of the whole wrapped up weight loss mentality of what got us here in the first place, right? And how we ended up being obese because of the thinking that we've had our whole life and the thought process that has come along with obesity, whether or not we could control it. It was a really hard cycle to break. Sometimes we feel like we have to starve ourselves in order to lose weight, or if we're eating anything fun or anything different, then we are hurting our process, and that is just not the truth. And take it from me, like when you starve yourself and are not able to function, it's bad. Like looking back on it now, because I was eating so little, I was a shell of myself. Like I was not the same Brittany that I was before weight loss or that I am now, in terms of energy level and the drive I had for life and wanting to do things. Kind of leads me into my next sort of topic here, which is depression or anxiety, and especially depression. If you have no energy, my light is dying, I guess, so it's just gonna have to be off for the rest of this video. But if you have no energy and you can't even get yourself to get off the couch and to go do the things that you want to do, you're going to be depressed and you're going to feel low on yourself. And, your brain function is so tied into your gut function. We're learning that through the use of GLP-1s, right? Like your brain and your gut are so intertwined. And if you are not fueling your gut and you're fueling your body well, then your brain function can suffer. Whether or not your brain is being, quote unquote, kept alive by starving yourself and it pulling from all energy sources possible, you can still function. So if you're anxious, if you are depressed, if you're feeling on edge or whatever, it literally could be that you just need to eat a little bit more food. And then the final thing is actually constipation, which is a side effect of GLP-1 use, but it's also a side effect of not eating enough food, because you should have a waste amount. If you go to like Africa or some healthier, and what I mean by healthier are countries that eat less processed, more natural, real foods, and they're active and, throughout their day and all of that. They have several bowel movements every single day and they're eating enough food. They're just fueling their body properly. And then their body is taking the waste and pushing it out. If you don't have any waste, that's actually a bad sign. Your body should be taking in what you give it, pulling the nutrients that it needs from it, and then getting rid of the rest. And so if that process is not happening regularly in your body, then that's a really good sign that you are not fueling your body properly. So with all of that being said, I want to know what your thoughts are. I want to know if you have noticed anything else. If I could there's a lot of times that I'm like, if I could do one thing different in this journey, this is what I would do. But really, if I could do one thing differently in this journey, it would be not titrating up every single month, which I think then would link to me not so severely underfueling my body. There were a lot of times where, I always have done my shots on Thursday. And there were a lot of times when like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would be dead to the world, especially when I would go up in dosage. I could not do anything. And just like the thought of like walking to or going to the grocery store and walking around and picking my groceries would be so exhausting to me that I would then need to like sit on the couch. And I don't think that's something that I've ever shared on this journey, that struggle. I don't think I've ever really significantly talked about it because it is something that I am ashamed of. Like looking back, was so focused on losing weight and presenting it in a certain way that I lost sight of myself for a little bit. And it wasn't until I actually switched to compounded and then sort of started backing off my dosage that I got my life back. And I feel like that was when my journey really took hold, was when I was able to fuel my body a little bit more, not focus so much on the weight. Because once I got to like 180 pounds, I was like, okay, I don't really want to lose weight anymore. I've lost another almost 30, but I wasn't trying to. And so without the mentality of weight loss as a tool or as a thing I was trying to do, I was able to then focus more on fueling my body, moving my body, and all of that, and my life just sort of opened up. So yeah, I of course want to know your thoughts on this as well. Do you think that under fueling serves you or hurts you? I would love to know your thoughts down below on that. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of GLP1 Discussions. If you have any more topics that you think would be a great idea for this series, leave them down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you tomorrow with another What I Eat in a Day, where we try out an amazing recipe that I found that I hope that you guys enjoy as well, because you have got to watch and make it. My lunch yesterday was so good, and it was a, like I said, new recipe that I made that I'm obsessed with. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you have a great Tuesday. Bye guys.